13 Lectures on General History of China by Liu Zheng. Chapter 4 From Qin State to Qin Dynasty 1. The Rise and Fall of the Qin Dynasty when Yingzheng, 260 BC to 210 BC, succeeded to the throne in 247 BC. He was only 13 years old, and so the Empress and the Prime Minister Liu Buwei took over the powers of the state. By 238 BC, Yingzheng was awarded adulthood with a grand ceremony in the Yang capital, now in the south of Fengshan County in Shaanxi Province, and he took over the reins of government in the following year. He undeniably loved the works of Han Fei, circa 280 BC to 223 BC, who epitomized thoughts of the school of legalism. He appointed Li Si, 280 BC to 208 BC, to make the best use of the unite and conquer policy, with the result being that he defeated every enemy by preventing strategic alliances from being formed. In the 26th year after his succession, the Qin Emperor Yingzheng unified China and established Shenyang as his capital. This set the scene for later Chinese feudal dynasties. The legalistic policy, enriching the state and strengthening the people, became a reality in the state of Qin. Endowed with a strategically advantageous location, the state of Qin could attack others while guarding itself easily. As a matter of fact, it enjoyed stability for 150 years, from encompassing the long reigns of the Duke Xian, 384 BC to 362 BC, Duke Shao, 361 BC to 338 BC, to Zhuangshang, 250 BC to 247 BC. Although it was a short-lived imperial dynasty of a little more than 10 years, the system of governance practiced by the Qin dynasty exerted a far-reaching impact over more than 2,000 years of history thereafter. The theory and practice of great unification were its first and foremost contributions. 2. The Great Unification. The political system of the state of Qin embodied the theory and practice of the Great Unification. Gaining control over a vast territory once unification had been achieved. It established 36 original prefectures. Jun Neishi was a parallel administrative unit alongside the prefectures, Jun, and had jurisdiction over the counties surrounding the capital city. The system of prefectures and counties set up during the unification of China during the Qin dynasty paved the way for a political system based around a greatly unified central regime. Under the guidance of the Grand Unification theory, the foundations of a perfect central regime were established during the Qin dynasty. The most important officials in the central ruling group were the Chengshang, the Taiwei, and the Yushi Dafu. In the light of the history of the Han Dynasty, table of nobility ranks and all government offices. After the Qin unified China, it established for the first time the title of emperor in a system of more than 100 officials and ministers. The Han Dynasty just followed suit with little reform. One may say that, broadly speaking, the Han Dynasty retained the system of the Qin with tiny alterations and established the basic pattern of the system of officials used through the ages in China. Specific policies were enacted during the Qin dynasty, including the same ruts for carriages, and the same script for writing. Both of these proved to be pioneering strokes worthy of praise. In respect to the legal system, the Qin dynasty upheld the rule of law. A tomb excavated in the Shuiyudi, Yunming County, Hubei Province, in December 1975 was found to contain a large number of bamboo slips inscribed with details of the laws of the state of Qin. From the quantity of the names of provisions in the Qin law recorded on the bamboo slips, it is no overstatement to say that the Qin law was "Dean and tight as bitty cream." The Qin law inscribed on the bamboo slips covers broad fields ranging from politics, the military, agriculture, the handicraft industry, the management of marketing, currency circulation, transportation, administration, the appointment of officials, hearing cases to the litigation procedure. In terms of the implementation of laws, the Qin dynasty placed emphasis on meting out severe punishment for minor offenses. Brutal laws intensified social conflicts. The first emperor boldly proclaimed that as the first emperor, he will have numerous generations governing the whole country forever. This sovereignty was subject to neither supervision nor restriction. After ruining the 6 major states, Li Si, the prime minister and a typical follower of legalism, presented a proposal to the emperor. All historical records and literary works should be burned, save for the official state documents of the Qin. The book of poetry, the classic of history, and works of other dissimilar schools should be kept by the erudite scholar. All other books collected by any individual or institution should also be burned by local officials. Anyone who satirized the present by speaking of the past should be sentenced to death together with his family. Soon after this edict, Confucian scholars were buried alive. 2 scholars named Hu and Liu, who had previously gained the first emperor's trust, planned to escape because of their resentment towards his greed for authority and superstitious belief in divination. The emperor furiously ordered that over 460 offending scholars be buried alive on the shores of the Wei River as a warning to all scholars. These extreme measures demonstrate the emperor's ruthless ruination of culture. In the last years of the emperor's reign, he organized several large-scale civil projects such as the construction of the Great Wall in 213 BC and the Straight Road in 212 BC. In the Qin dynasty, the Great Wall stretched from Lintao, now Min County in Gansu, to Liaodong. Another palace complex, with the magnificent Yipeng Palace at its heart, was built on the southern side of the Wei River. Hundreds of thousands of workers were involved in the construction of the mausoleum of the first emperor of the Qin dynasty at Li Mountain, as is recorded in history books. Yipeng Palace and the mausoleum utilized over 700,000 workmen. 3. The uprising of Chen Sheng and Wu Guang in July of the first year, 209 BC, of the reign of the second emperor of the Qin dynasty. More than 900 soldiers who had been sent to Yueyang to serve on the frontier found themselves unable to reach their intended destination owing to a road being obstructed by a downpour. As they were marching behind schedule, they were entitled to be beheaded pursuant to the law of the Qin dynasty. Chen Sheng and Wu Guang, both former peasants and leaders of the team, decided to rise up with arms against the tyranny of the Qin. The characters Chen Shang future king was written in red on a silk handkerchief and stuffed inside a fish. In a faux miracle, the handkerchief was then brought out to excite the soldiers. This is documented in records of the Grand Historian, House of Chen Shi. In this way, Chen and Wu appointed themselves general and defender and separately attacked the townships of Dais in Ji County, now in the south of Anhui, and Chen, now Huaiyang, Henan. This uprising generated many responses from the general public here and there. As was noted by Jia Yi, a brilliant scholar of the Han Dynasty, in an analysis of the downfall of Qin Dynasty. The whole of China responded passionately to it with wooden weapons and banners. Chen Shang's army marched westward to attack the Qin. Upon his arrival at the Hanggu Pass, the general had consolidated a force of 1,000 chariots and hundreds of thousands of soldiers to pose a direct threat to Shenyang, the capital during the Qin dynasty. Chen Shang's army were pitifully defeated, and he was assassinated at Shachengfu, now the northwest of Mengchong County in Anhui. Hu Hai, the youngest son of the first emperor, was enthroned as the second emperor of the Qin dynasty, regnal title or Shi. In 207 BC, the minister Zhao Gao arranged the emperor's assassination at the hands of his trusted aides at Wangyi Palace. In the end, Liu Bang led his troops to overthrow the Qin dynasty. The Qin, by dominating their known world, created a theater fit for struggle. This is indicated as follows. First, sovereignty was reinforced with cruel punishments for the establishment of an absolute tyranny of an autocrat without restriction. Second, tyranny was put into practice. Third, no dissenting opinion or school was allowed to exist. In fact, this was a form of cultural dictatorship. Endowed with a strong military power, a complete central regime, and administrative system. The Qin Empire nevertheless soon fell in spite of the plans and designs to establish itself into a unified monarchy. This mainly resulted from two factors. First, the public will and power, and second, bad means of monarchy establishment. The empire's cruel suppression of the people and the tyrannical control of culture brought about its own downfall.